straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams here today.
Hi and welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. On the show today, we look at the weak link in the Indian cricket team. Sure, they are yet to lose a game, but have the best fired yet? Are the seniors in the side just a game away from getting into their zone, or will they lose their way at the crucial stage of the T20 World Cup? Serbia is threatening to pull out of the Euros unless the governing body UEFA steps in to punish Croatia and Albania. Fans in Euros are running riot. Is this heading to disaster with Euros at stake? Can UEFA take action, and soon? And we've seen superheroes and their gear, but which of the sporting stars have got creative with their face masks? We'll show you the evolution of the protective gear to now becoming a fashion statement. But first, a look at the headlines in Sports 360. Starting with cricket, Australia defeated Bangladesh by 28 runs in a rain-hit T20 World Cup Super 8 match. Bangladesh managed to score 140. Australia were 100 for 2 in the 12th over when rain interrupted play. Australia won the match by 28 runs on DLS. Over in football and the Euros, England and Denmark's Group C encounter ended in a 1-all draw. England captain Harry Kane scored the opener in the 18th minute. Denmark were on level after Hellman's 34th minute equaliser. Despite the draw, England still sits on top of the group. Argentina started their Copa America defense with a victory, beating Canada 2-0. Julian Alvarez gave Argentina the lead in the 49th minute. Lautaro Martinez settled the game with his 88th minute goal. Over in tennis, world number 2 and French Open champion Carlos Alcaraz has been knocked out of the Queen's Club Championships. Alcaraz lost in straight sets to 22-year-old Jack Draper, 6-7, 3-6. And Novak Djokovic returned to training after undergoing a knee surgery. Djokovic sustained the injury during the French Open. The world number 3 is doubtful for Wimbledon, which starts on the 1st of July, but is set to feature at the Paris Olympics. Pat Cummins has got everyone excited about the World Cup again with a hat-trick. England is coming to the party, and after nearly getting knocked out of the Super 8 itself, they are now making every innings count. Phil Salt's blistering knock has reignited their campaign. South Africa has woken up from their slumbering walk in the group stages, where they somehow managed to just close out matches. They're looking good at the turn. West Indies can never be underestimated in their own backyard. And of course, then there is India. Pocketing the wins, yes, but at what cost? If IPL, the Indian Premier League, is anything to go by, the opening batters hold the key to any team's fortunes. I'll back this up. Kolkata won this edition of the IPL. Who were their openers? Sunil Narayan and Phil Salt, with Ramanullah Gurbaz stepping in only towards the end. Hyderabad reached the final. Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma were their openers who dominated the tournament. It's the openers who set up a tournament-winning campaign. And if you look at the Indian setup, you see two stalwarts, true legends of the game, opening the batting for India. But it's been quite a few games now with just one more week left in the tournament. We're near the business end, and we're yet to see Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli truly fire. In the 4 matches that India has played, Rohit and Virat have individually averaged about 25 and 7. That's not something we usually see from these two at big ICC events. Now, yes, you can always say the big guns start slow and then build up. They are probably just one knock away from a big one. Okay, but then that time is now to kick into final gear and start taking off, because then the Indian lineup will have to rely on the middle order otherwise. That has a mercurial Surya Kumar Yadav, one, though he did show his brilliance in the last game against Afghanistan. And then there is Rishabh Pant, who played a critical role in India's win over Pakistan, but he's playing his first mega tournament since his comeback. So there will have to be some assistance to him. And then, of course, there's Shivam Dube. A lot rides on him, but somehow he's disappointed. He's just not taken charge like all of them have expected him to. Which is why Rohit and Virat firing at the top is essential. Every other top side has been careful in picking their opening choices in this regard, opting for a good balance of the swashbuckling T20 specialist and a senior hand. Like Australia, who have David Warner at one end, holding up the innings, and a maverick Travis Head at the other. They decided to let Steve Smith off for this. Take England. It has a seasoned Joss Buttler and the manic Phil Salt at the other end, and even a Harry Brook for a lower down the order assault. Then there is South Africa. Quinton de Kock, just about 31, and of course Reza Hendricks, both senior hands. But they have someone like Tristan Stubbs lower down the order, and occasionally can count on the young Marco Jansen for the heavy lifting too. Even if West Indies are banking on the experience of Johnson Charles at the top, they have Nicholas Pooran and Sherfane Rutherford, the young 25-year-old, coming right up with the big guns. Is India missing the trick with the most swashbuckling T20 batter, Yashasvi Jaiswal, warming the bench? Yes, Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma are India's milestone men. You only have to remember the Melbourne T20 campaign to go back to that moment and know that these guys are capable of pulling off miraculous victories. But if something isn't working, especially at a critical juncture at a tournament such as the T20 World Cup, what do you do as a team? Do you look for solutions and rejig the combination? Because they will turn around and say, but we are winning. Yes, against USA and Afghanistan and Ireland. You are yet to face Australia. You are potentially going to face England or West Indies or South Africa. At that stage, against T20 monsters, will this plan hold water? Or will they stick to their guns and their conviction and just hope for the big names to deliver soon? Because the clock is ticking on this World Cup campaign. The Euros is underway, and it's the kind of tournament that has a buzz about it. There's a lot of intense action. The cities are electrifying with people from all over the world descending to celebrate football. And this year too, there is a lot of frenzy. At the heart of it are the fans, the passionate, sometimes over-the-top fans. And this edition is having its own share of controversy and chaos. So what's the latest? Serbia Football Association has threatened to exit Euros. That is, if UEFA, the governing body for European football, fails to take any action against Croatia and Albania. Serbia claims that their fans chanted "Kill the Serb" during Croatia's Euros match against Albania. And it was not just a small section or a group of or a handful of fans, it was a horde of them. And it was very acrimonious. Following the threat of a pullout, UEFA is now under immense pressure. And they say they have launched an investigation. But given the sensitivity of the chants and the behavior of these fans, UEFA is also adamant to use this incident to set an example. The exceptional football that we have witnessed all week has contrastingly been met by the most ugly behavior by the fans surrounding it. In just a week, the Euros has been hit by not just this, but multiple cases of hooliganism. It in fact began during the England and Serbia match, and it's no shocker. English fans have a history of creating nuisance wherever they go. But this time it was the Serbs who lit the fire. About 150 people were involved in a brawl outside a restaurant near the stadium. This was before the match started. Following the brawl, one English supporter and 7 Serbian fans were detained. The German security forces that you see there took swift action, and so the matter was contained. But that was just the start. Serb fans have been inciting violence at the tournament. They held banners that included Kosovo with the slogan "No Surrender." This was during their match against England. And they've also indulged in racial slurs against some of England's players. So clearly, UEFA is in a bit of a spot now. Serbia is threatening to pull out of Euros when a massive section of their own fans are indulging in chants and activities that have only disrupted the tournament. Serbia is that backbencher in the class who is quietly playing truant while the teacher is looking away but is ready to point fingers at the rest and threaten a boycott. And UEFA has a bunch of violators in this regard. Serbia isn't the only one using political provocative messages on their banner. Albania fans have been doing the same, displaying banners with a map extending their borders into neighboring countries. And when we talk of rowdy fans, how can the English be left behind? Number of England supporters were filmed singing a controversial chant. It was a reference to German casualties in World War II. It's called 10 German Bombers, a reference to the German Air Force and English counterattacks. And despite an appeal by both British and German police to refrain from such singing, there has been no pause. English fans have been at it, taunting their German counterparts in their own city. And this is even before the two have faced off on the field. During this year's Champions League fixtures, Bayern and Barcelona supporters were all banned from travelling for their away legs because they were spewing racist chants. UEFA was firm enough to take action then, so what is stopping them now? Yes, this is not easy. It is difficult to pick out culprits in a massive sea of supporters, but even so, action of unruly fans have been levied on the clubs associated with it. We've seen that in the past, but in this case, it is a tad more sensitive. There are countries involved here. We are speaking of geopolitical repercussions that may have consequences and a fallout that we cannot quite comprehend just yet. Most of the stadiums in Germany have a capacity of more than 50,000, so that's what you're talking of. And then, of course, there are fans outside the stadium. That's a large number too. So yes, keeping a check on a massive crowd that is overflowing in these cities is difficult, yes. But here's the thing, it will take just one unruly mob, one comment or chant here to spark off violence that will be difficult to stop. Shouldn't the UEFA swing into action at this point to try to put some checks in place to prevent that from happening? There is no room for racism or any kind of provocative chants that could incite violence. And if a country's fans indulge in that, the Football Association of that country should pay the price. Because at stake is a tournament, and anything untoward that threatens to disturb it could prove to be fatal. The face masks have long been an MVP of Hollywood. They add intrigue to the character in a movie, be it the Gladiator, Iron Man, Batman, and of course Darth Vader. Now imagine the same on a sports field. No, not the superheroes. Darth Vader taking on a football team, for instance, would be skewed to say the least. I'm talking of the wounded footballers who've resorted to masks on the field or otherwise. French football captain Kylian Mbappe has revealed what he will wear, of course, during what he's worn during training to protect his broken nose. The Real Madrid player opted for French colours, and that's made me curious of players sporting face masks over the years. It's gone from protective gear to a fashion statement. So who all have worn what? How has it changed over the years, and who wore it the best?
Kylian Mbappe's broken nose caused quite the scare. But it turned to some fun banter on social media very quickly. Especially when Mbappe himself asked about suggestions on what kind of mask he should use. And there were many that popped up, a Ninja Turtle inspired one or a plain Jane one. The superstar that Mbappe is came up with something unique. With questions being raised on just how patriotic he is after turning down a chance to play the Olympics, Mbappe opted for French colours on his face mask. While he's the first to opt for a national flag themed mask, in the past we have seen several other superstars do it, and the hype is real. In football alone, we have seen plenty of players using the mask. The Spanish seem to have sported it brilliantly. Nothing fancy there, just a black mask with their unique designs on it. Fernando Torres wore a mask because of a broken nose against Liverpool in a Europa League campaign. While Torres' mask still looked like a protective gear, Czech Fabregas' mask in 2015 gave serious Batman vibes. He just needed a robe, and Fabregas could have well been on his way to save the world. And speaking of superheroes, Deadpool's doppelganger could be England's Harry Kane. But unlike some others, Kane was using his for protection after he broke his nose in an FA Cup game in 2016. Chelsea captain John Terry wore a face mask in training while preparing for a Champions League match against Valencia in 2007. This was to protect a fractured cheekbone. But if Harry Kane's mask was to feature in a fashion show, it wouldn't have many takers. Now we come to the big guns. LeBron James wore a mask twice in his career, and the great Kobe Bryant wore it for 11 games. That is quite a long stay for this accessory. And though I will give it to him for sticking to this so long, it still failed to leave the kind of impact that James's mask did. The swagger that came with it had to count for some extra points. Cricketers have refrained from masks. The only time we saw one wearing it was during the Indian Premier League, when cricketer Rishi Dhawan sported a face mask. No marks for ingenuity there, but full marks for bravery, because he was protecting a head injury he had recovered from. The coolest face mask in cricket is Anil Kumble's, of course. It's just a piece of cloth around his face, but bowling with a broken jaw is no joke. So if it came down to this, a finale of sorts for the best mask and who sported it best, it will boil down to Mbappe and LeBron James. Full marks to all the Spanish players, but they would fall short in front of these two on uniqueness and the coolness factor in pulling it off. And the winner? Why, Mbappe, of course. Being cool, tick. Being unique, tick. And being brave, tick. And of course, making a political statement, double tick.
Time for last serve, leaving you with something inspirational. Ukraine's war veterans have travelled to Germany to cheer on their team at Euros. About 50 Ukrainian war veterans coming into Düsseldorf. Take a look.
First of all, I think we want to show the Ukrainian soul. We want to support our national team, and always also we want to scream and shout about the situation in Ukraine, especially about the prisoners who still living in the Russian prisoners.
Really heartwarming scenes there, but that does it here on Firstpost today. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on the other side. Till then, take care.